how can we achieve good sound insulation when the walls don't go all the way up? This is a question that I came across today with a couple of architects in a project meeting of ours. So I'm going to show you here the situation. Here's an example. You have like an open plan office with 2 telephone rooms. So, when you're in an open plan office, you don't have any secrecy, but sometimes you want to go and take a telephone call where you can be alone and talk in privacy. And that's why we often design our offices with rooms like this. It's like a little telephone booth for one person where you can go in and have a conversation. Now, let me switch to the whiteboard. If we look at this one from the side, it could be something like this. We have the floor and we have the ceiling. And then maybe this is quite high. Let's say it's 4 meters in ceiling height. And usually when you build a room, you preferably want the walls to go all the way up to the ceiling where you have here's the next story comes above. And if they attach here and you have persons in here and they are talking on the phone, how do you draw a phone? Yeah, like so, blah 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 blah, they're saying something. Then this is an airtight chamber inside this little room because the walls go all the way up and it's sealed, airtight. And that way the sound stays inside the room where it was created. Now, perhaps we need to go here with a lot of installations, ventilation ducts or stuff like that. And also when it's so high, maybe it's preferable to make them lower. So we have a situation like this instead. So the walls go only to this height. And then typically in these kinds of buildings you use a suspended ceiling where you put this sound absorbing panels, usually like 60 by 60 centimeters. You've probably all seen them in the grid in the ceiling. So let's put some sound absorbers here. And the same goes for the other room. Now what will happen here? This is not going to work. Because now when this person is talking, the sound, well, it can't go through the wall, but it can actually easily go through the sound absorber and it will come into the room here. So these people can hear each other and secrecy is lost. So this is not good. And here's a very common misconception that I've come across many, many times, that damping and insulation are 2 different things. So when you put this sound absorbing ceilings, like in my little sketch here, what happens actually is, if we take this one, this is like damping. Even if I put this one in front of my mouth, you can still clearly hear what I'm saying, but it gets a little bit dampened. So it will have an effect on the sound inside the room, but it can easily go through it because it's just a porous material. So how do we solve this? We need another kind of product, and it's going to look something like this. Here's one example of an Ecophone Combizone Duo, it's called. So what this is that it's like a similar sound absorber, but with a layer of gypsum behind it. So it's a bit thicker, it's a bit heavier, but here you got the sound absorbent, the damping. It's taken care of by this mineral wool here. And then you have this layer of gypsum, which adds some mass and makes the construction airtight. So when you use these kinds of suspended ceilings in this little construction, then you will add up here is going to be that gypsum board too. And that way we're going to break this transmission path. Because now the sound will go through the absorber, but it's going to bounce down again when it hits the gypsum board. So this is a way to do it. And there are also a couple of variants of these products on how they're made. I know there's also ones that are not using gypsum, but they're using mineral wool of different densities. So you might have a porous wool in the lower part, and then it's a very high density wool in the upper layer. So that's another way of making sure that this This layer takes care of the sound insulation. And this layer will take care of the damping, absorption. And this is a good thing to know about. So, yeah, I think that's it for today. Cool. A little mini lecture on acoustics as always. And in today's video, I'm wearing my trusty old navy blue jacket, which I paired with a kind of cool pocket square that I like a lot. It's white and blue, because usually when I put the white pocket squares here, it can tend to be quite formal. But not with this one. I use a casual fold, and also there's a lot of, you see there's some blue patterns on this pocket square, so I like it. And the reason I chose this one is because it's so chilly, it's so cold here today, and I think this represents that. It's like a symbol for the winter. And see you guys later. Thanks for the questions. I love doing these Q&A videos. It's a lot of fun. See ya.